Get your money, Alex. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, then please do me a favour and hit that subscribe button. So, Alex Wright has signed a 3-year contract extension with the Cleveland Browns. Great news for Alex Wright, great news for the Cleveland Browns, great news for Browns fans. I'm going to talk about this one, give my quick thoughts. Yes, quick thoughts, guys. I know every time I say quick thoughts, I end up doing a 40-minute video. I promise that will not be the case today. I am going to try my absolute hardest to keep this under 10 minutes because I actually need to be out in about 20 minutes and that will give me just enough time to edit this one and get it uploaded. Had a terrible week as per usual, but none of you guys care about that because you shouldn't care about my week. But what you should care about is what ended up improving my week, which was the news of Alex Wright signing his contract extension with the Cleveland Browns. I was very happy about this. I'm sure a lot of people are happy about this as well. Yes, I know I'm a day late. This obviously news dropped yesterday. But as I've said before, I will say again, unfortunately, no one has decided to pay me to talk about the Cleveland Browns yet. So unless you guys know anyone that wants to pay me to do this, you're going to have to just sometimes accept that these videos might be a day late. I do apologise. But as I said, I'm rambling on. I've got now about 8 minutes left to try and do this video, so I'm going to just give my quick thoughts on it. As I said, really, really happy about this. This is well deserved. First and foremost, I tweeted yesterday, anytime you draft a mid-round pick, you develop that guy, and then he gets a second contract, that moves me. That alone, just, in a vacuum, does something for me. It makes me happy inside, makes me all fuzzy inside. When you can develop players in the NFL, it is a massive thing. It goes a long way. When you can develop mid-round picks, that is as best as it gets. And the Browns were able to develop Alex Wright to, some people might laugh at saying this, but arguably one of the better twos, as a pass rusher. Certainly in the top half of the NFL. I'm a big Alex Wright guy. Anyone that has followed my channel since the start, since last year, anyone that's followed my Twitter over the years, you will know how much of a fan I am of Alex Wright. Alex Wright and Isaiah McGuire. I have been those two guys' biggest fan on this channel. I've been, when everyone's been saying, every year, free agency, why don't we sign this edge? Why don't we sign this edge? I'm there saying we don't need to sign that edge because we have Alex Wright, and I think he is starting to prove that. But first and foremost, the contract, 3 years, $33 million. Great value, in my opinion. I was slightly worried that with Alex Wright's play this year, if he continues to keep playing well, if the Browns were going to hold out for this contract, that could easily rise to around anywhere between 14, to be honest, 18 million a year. For a player that is playing as good as Alex Wright. They were able to get him for 11 million a year, 21 million guaranteed. So it's technically a 2-year, 10.5 million contract when you factor in the guarantees. That's great value. Andrew Berry's really good at this stuff. I've said it before. I can't really, expand too much more on it. He's just really good at this stuff. Yes, there's plenty of things we can criticise Andrew Berry for. There's plenty of things that I have criticised Andrew Berry for on this channel, i.e. drafting offensive players. But there's one thing that I've always said and one thing I've always defended him for, and that is handling the books. That is handling the finances. That is contract negotiations, trade negotiations, anything that involves one party talking to another party. Andrew Berry is very fucking good at it. At this point, I say that I don't know how you can fire Andrew Berry. I've already thought that was the case. Don't get me wrong. I've spoken, again, plenty of things wrong with him. But I just don't know how you fire someone that has such a hold on your team's finances and everything that goes into salary cap, contracts, everything like that. I've said before, no move that the Browns made is made in the moment. Every single move that Andrew Berry makes has got next year, year after, long term considered into it. Every decision, every move, every thing that they do, they don't act, in the moment. So you don't operate like that. You don't allow a guy to operate like that if you're planning to fire him. So yeah, if anyone still thinks Andrew Berry's getting fired, he's not getting fired. And this is an example of why they like Andrew Berry. As I said, 3 years, 33 million, 11 million a year for Alex Wright. That is fantastic business. And the reason why it is fantastic business, because Alex Wright is an ascending player and a very good ascending player. This is a guy who, rookie season, didn't do too much, shall we say, but as a third round pick at a UAB, showed flashes. And then his second season in 2023, obviously when the Browns made the playoffs, that back half of that season, he was incredible. I think he had 5 sacks in 5 straight games, multiple tackles for loss. He was really good, and he was showing you flashes of like, wow, okay. And that's when I kind of said back then, I think this guy is the long-term number 2 next to Myles Garrett. And then obviously got hurt in 2024. That obviously sucked. But, and then obviously coming back off that injury, wasn't the same player. But this year has just hit the ground running. He's been fantastic. After a slightly slow start, that first game of the season, he had a couple of busted run coverages where I thought, maybe that's why you can make an argument for Isaiah McGuire being in there. But since then, he has been fantastic. Already, his career high in tackles for loss already. He's played 9 games. 3 sacks, which I know is not gaudy, and everyone loves talking sacks, i.e. Steelers fans that don't realise that whenever I talk about sacks, I'm doing so because I'm taking the mick out of them. They've yet to realise that. But this is a guy who, when you watch the tape and when you look at the advanced numbers, the grade, stuff like that, this is a guy that is very good. I know a lot of people don't like PFF, but his PFF grade this year of 88.7 is literally elite. That's top 10 amongst edge defenders across the entire NFL. Every edge defender. I think it's 8th. He has the 8th highest PFF grade out of any edge defender in the NFL this year. Yes, not as many sacks, not as many snaps as the top guys. 255 snaps currently. That is 80th out of edge rushers. 10 total pressures this year. So he's getting pressures, he's getting tackles for loss. He's forced a fumble this year as well. He is a really good pass rusher. He's a disruptive pass rusher. And the biggest knock that I've had on Alex Wright in previous seasons is that he's not quite the same player in run defense. Isaiah McGuire, the opposite, very, very good in run defense, but is developing as a pass rusher. This was kind of the opposite, a very good pass rusher, raw pass rusher, but a very good pass rushing prospect that wasn't really good against the run. But this year, he has been fantastic against the run. He grades out in the 80s again in run defense. So, if that's the norm, then holy shit. Like, we have just got, a guy that is grading out as one of the 10 best pass rushers in the NFL, from his production, and one of the top 10 to 15 run defenders in the NFL with his production and his grade this year. So this is a guy that, don't let people, don't get it twisted. Like, this is not just some jag that they've given a second contract because he plays well next to Myles. Don't get me wrong. Yes, playing next to Myles obviously helps. But this is a good fucking football player. And I swear by that. I will die on that hill. I've been saying this for years. And I'm so happy that he's gotten the recognition that he deserves with this contract extension. I could not be more happier for him. Just really happy about this move. The Browns now, their defensive line next year, next year alone, but going into the future, Myles Garrett is back next year. Alex Wright just signed the contract extension. He is back next year. Mason Graham is back next year. Mike Hall is back next year. One of the biggest ones, Malik Collins, is back next year. It was a 2-year deal, not a 1-year deal. The Browns' defensive line is loaded. And, it is the one annoying thing, because it's like this defensive line is so loaded and you can't figure out how to play offense. But with that being said, as I said, this defensive line isn't going anywhere. The core of this defensive line, the best players on this defensive line are all here next year and the years after, other than Malik Collins. But they could easily get an extension done with him if that was the case. So, you're set on the defensive line. This is one of the better defensive lines in the NFL. It is this year. It will be next year with those guys, still being here. So just figure out offense, man. Like if you can hit on a quarterback, whether that's Shedeur Sanders or someone that you bring in the draft, draft some offensive players, overhaul that offense, and this team is ready to go next year. People are going to laugh. People are going to say you're a bad team. All of this stuff. You can't just you can't go from being that bad to being good within a year. It's the fucking NFL. Yes, you can. We have seen it 1,000 times. Teams that go 3-14, the next year they go 11-5. It's the NFL. It's designed for that to happen. And, it might seem like the Browns are so far away from it right now. But when you actually think about it, you look at, as I said, you look at the defensive line, you look at the defensive personnel that's coming back next year. As I said, make a few right decisions on offense, hit on quarterback, maybe bring in a wide receiver, and this team is ready to go next year. I will die on that hill the same way I will die on the hill that Alex Wright is a good football player, a great football player. I'm so happy that he has signed his contract extension. I'm so happy that he's here long term. Let's get back to work. Go and show everyone why that contract wasn't even enough, how you should have been paid more. As I said, when a third round pick gets 33 million, 21 million guaranteed, that's amazing. I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for his family. But I know that he can be better than that. And I want him to show me, I want him to show the Browns, I want him to show everyone that when it comes around to that third contract, that he's going to be getting a little bit more than 21 million guaranteed. But I've just seen that I've already gone over 10 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm a liar. Every time I say it, I end up going over. But as I said, that's my thoughts on it. Really, really happy about this one. Happy that Alex is here to stay. Obviously, the way the Browns are operating does make you think that maybe there isn't going to be quite as many wholesale changes as some people think. But we'll talk about that when it's time to talk about it. For now, I'm just very happy that Alex Wright has signed an extension. It's a Friday. I haven't got work in the morning. Good vibes, guys. Good vibes. I will be doing I was going to do a video on Shedeur, obviously being named the starter. But with how busy I've been, how I kind of realised that that's probably just going to mean that my, preview for the Raiders game will then, how do I talk about Shedeur if I did a whole video on it? So I'm going to hit all of that stuff in the preview. If you want to hear my thoughts on Shedeur, obviously being named the starter, check in tomorrow. I will have a preview out for that Raiders game. But for now, really happy that Alex Wright signed his extension. You guys should be happy too. Because this is a great player that the Browns have got on a cheap contract, 3 years, 33 million, for someone that is, his production is graded out as a top 10 edge rusher right now. Really happy with this one. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Are you as happy as me? If not, let me know why. I would love to know why. But if you are, let me know why as well. We can all revel in each other's happiness for a change, something that Browns fans don't usually get to do. But that will do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you do enjoy my content, please drop this video a like, hit the subscribe button. It's free, but it really, really helps out my channel. You can also check the links in the description to see where you can follow and interact with me on social media. I promise you my Twitter is a good follow. It can be funny, I promise you. That's not me just lying to get you to go follow my Twitter. But as always, guys, I'm trying to build a community of Cleveland Browns fans, and even if that means I only get to talk to one fan a day, I'm happy because I'm talking Browns football with the best fan base in the world. Thanks again for watching, guys. Have an amazing weekend. Enjoy the news. Go watch Alex Wright highlights, whatever you need to do. Enjoy this one. But most importantly, go Alex Wright and go Browns.